So, I got the yellow ribbon. So, it's okay.
How many times did you sit back just relaxing? Understand movements coming in, yeah, we got the packs in. I don't really wanna see no more traffic. Last pack just came in.
Don't ruin this podcast for us, Zach.
Sweaty
you don't have sweaty ears?
Ear sweat and the headphones. I don't really have sweaty ears.
But how do you, tell us how?
Like how
you don't have sweat glands in your...
I'm not a really sweaty person, I don't think, but
And
you know,
you worked outside here in the summer? How'd that go?
Well, in my current job, I'm pretty thankful for not working outside during the summer. That's I was very thankful this last summer.
It was like 115 degrees outside.
Yeah,
It was like 110, felt like 123.
Scorching.
I went through 2 bottles of Gold Bond in a month and a half.
Yeah, Gold Bond, it's like mouthwash, like for your ass crack.
Yeah.
It's like
Do you have any Gold Bond?
minty refresh. I got some in the truck.
Do you
right now.
do you do the Dollar
But
Tree?
what do you need that for? You're not a sweaty person.
Well, swamp ass is a little bit
Good
different
call.
than ear sweat,
Sweaty ears.
Yeah. So how'd you grow this iconic hair you have here? Let's talk about the hair first.
The hair, man, I'm so thankful to have this hair.
I'm feeling like
You know,
Kaneki from Grease vibes.
I don't know. You guys may
Kaneki, right?
side with this. When you get over 30 and you start looking at all your guy friends,
I have no clue what you're talking about.
that don't have hair, and then you just have it. You automatically look 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Hey, my friends that don't have hair.
Like you're still getting carded, and they just like walk in.
I haven't gotten carded in a long time. It's been several years.
Somebody's actually told him that he's my stepdad before. It was strange.
I've never heard that, but I believe it.
Okay.
Um,
Was she an influencer?
How weird would
Probably.
that be, though?
Yeah.
Probably.
How weird would that be, though?
I've seen it all and just expect it all now. So, like, my rule of thumb is, like, go with the flow. And if someone makes it awkward for you, make it twice as awkward for them. So, I would probably run with it and, like, play the part.
Oh, you just play it up. Do you ever in like a social scenario where you don't know a lot of people? Do you ever just like make up a
backstories
or
all the
a
time.
profession?
Yeah, my name's Jason Bowden.
I don't make up a profession. I typically.
Oh, man, that's like my favorite pastime.
What's your go-to?
Oh, podiatrist.
Podiatrist. All right. Are you playing?
Really?
Are you playing a role when you do this? Is that inspired?
No, that's like the best one for like a Mardi Gras event where everybody's just like lizard face.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a podiatrist," and then it just kind of like kills.
You gotta do it calm though.
It like kills the conversation. They're like, "Oh, that's weird."
Have you ever told one person 2 different things and gotten caught up like, oh shit, and
yeah, and then I just tell them I'd made it all up.
Yeah.
Like, or I own a recreational stilting business. I just rent stilts to people to walk around on.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good business, though. I'll be honest.
ABC Rentals probably put you out of
Yeah, I mean
business.
the liability.
Well, because they do have
insurance is
sheetrock stilts, though.
Street rocks.
Sheetrock.
Sheetrock.
Drywall.
I
think they're just stilts. I don't think that they.
No, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of.
No, it's not like those kinds of stilts. It's just like the stick with the wedge on it that you like hold onto the sticks
and walk around
and fall and break your arm. And
yeah, that seems like you should be able to build it versus rent it. But I don't know.
Have you ever walked on stilts before?
Yeah.
What is that like?
I didn't really like it.
How about you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Once you get used to it, it's not bad. But like the getting up and down and
are they heavy?
Not really.
Yeah,
the ones
depending
I have
on
were
what
lightweight.
model you get.
Yeah, I had the sheetrock ones like you're referring to. I've never used the old wooden original, the OG.
It's more of like a hand-foot coordination.
People
type
fish
deal.
with those back in the day. Like,
fish.
Yeah, like wade fish. Like crawled out there with those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Wouldn't get stuck in the mud.
But I've seen them. They had them at Margaritaville when they first opened.
Them girls, yeah.
Running around with those
Okay.
things.
R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett.
Can you imagine falling?
Jimmy Buffett, that guy, he had one of the most badass Freeman boats you could ever ask for.
Did he?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I've never seen Jimmy Buffett's Freeman.
It's probably
I'm not a big boat guy.
Probably in the estate now.
enclosed, I think it's like a 42 or something.
I know. He had bangers. Okay, he made really good music.
Yeah, he made really good drinking music.
Yeah, I mean he was kind of he was a coastal Willie Nelson, I guess, if you want to call him that.
I mean, from Pascagoula.
I know.
Is he originally from Pascagoula?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
this
got
is Jimmy Buffett house over in there, Pascagoula.
And also, shout out to Calvin Parker, passed away too. I don't know who's more important to me. Calvin Parker is. Right here, there's a signed Calvin Parker UFO hat.
That's the guy who got abducted.
In 1973, he passed away from cancer recently. Both of them went to cancer. I didn't know Jimmy Buffett had cancer.
Yeah, he had some crazy
skin
cancer. Just remember, I'm going to use this as my Hawaiian tropic plug. Just remember, put your sunscreen on before you go to the island.
Yeah.
Like a tan's cool, but skin cancer.
Yeah, but he was in the sun all the time.
Sure.
What kind of cancer took him out?
It's like some kind of really aggressive.
He was always in the sun.
Something.
It was 5 o'clock somewhere.
I'm not a doctor, so.
Okay. I thought you were a podiatrist.
Yeah, you just.
We have you on here to talk about podiatry.
Yeah, not a doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We've got Mr. Zachary Hamilton Harris on today.
Using my full name like my mom when I was in trouble.
You're in trouble, man. You're in trouble.
I'm here, right?
Great head of hair.
Why do moms always use the full name?
Oh, man. Man,
You think they would get you confused with somebody else? Or are you the youngest?
I am the youngest. I'm the youngest of 4.
So when you would get in trouble, did your mom and them yell like all the other kids' names before they got to yours?
No, I just got the Zachary.
Okay. So
that was it.
I had an aunt, like when she would go through the regimen, like I was the youngest, and she would yell every name until she got to mine.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be the wrong name she was yelling.
Well, recently my sister, so I hang out with my sister a lot over in New Orleans, and she'll go through her husband's name, her son's name, and then eventually get to my name, and I'm like, oh, you just like mom. She's like, shut up. Mm-hmm. She's like, John, Walker, Zachary. I'm like, ha, 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 ha.
What did you used to say to your mom to piss her off? Because like for me,
oh, you didn't.
I said mother.
You didn't make mama mad.
I said mother.
Yeah.
My mom hated the name mother. I'm like, mother. She's like, say that again.
Mm-mm.
If mom ain't happy, no one's happy. That's the rule.
Try not to make mama mad.
Oh, and that was the thing me and my brother did, though. All my siblings.
Yeah.
She hated the word. I don't know what it was. Like, she liked mom. Sometimes we call her Susie.
Yeah, but my mom worked, she taught at Southern for, like, clinical nursing. So she would work 12s.
Southern on the coast?
Southern on the coast or
Heck
Hattiesburg.
yeah.
So, like, she would work 12-hour shifts. So she wouldn't, like, she was always around, but, like, she come in just, like, absolutely exhausted. And you did not want to talk back to her at all.
And was this is the 90s, correct?
Yeah, I was born in 1988.
Okay.
Grew up in the 90s.
What'd your mom drive, you remember?
Oh, my mom drove a 2-tone Suburban.
Nice.
Blue on top, gray on bottom. It was like the like the right at the rub strip, like down.
Yeah.
It was like the gray.
I remember that Suburban.
Like a spaceship, man, with the double doors on the back, not the tailgate stuff. Pretty tricked out.
I miss riding in that car with my mom. I was saying the other day. It's been, and it was like her playlist. It was always like Whitney Houston, Fleetwood Mac.
Good stuff.
But her favorite song was Black Velvet. I was thinking the other day, like it was just always Black Velvet. It was on repeat, man.
Is there? Do we talk about this before? Is there underlining meaning to Black Velvet, the song?
I don't know. I think it resonates. I think for the moms.
Oh, I don't know. For today's moms, what's that going to be like? Lil Wayne,
Taylor Swift.
No, it's going to be like Nicki Minaj.
I mean,
Cardi
really?
B.
Yes.
WAP.
Yeah.
I don't know about that song, man.
I mean,
there's nothing to know about it.
You can't really go wrong with like if you grew up in the early 2000s, like some Lil Wayne, Carter.
To the window, to the wall.
You know what I've been listening to a lot?
The East Side Boys.
Little O, Backpack. Backpack. Give me 50 feet. I'm about to. You remember that song?
No.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was the St. Martin anthem. I know you went to Ocean Springs,
I did.
and I'm
Ocean
sorry.
Springs.
I'm so sorry about that.
I
man.
graduated from Ocean Springs. I went to Mercy Cross.
Oh,
So that's I describe it to people like I had a foot on either side of the bridge. Grew up in
Okay.
Ocean Springs, went to Mercy Cross, so I know both.
what made you
sides.
switch before graduating?
Katrina?
Yeah, I guess I
So
would do
Katrina happened my junior year of high school. Finished out my junior year at Mercy Cross after Mercy Cross, of course, moved campuses. And then, like, I was driving.
What was your first day? Hold on, let's cut back. What was your first day at Mercy Cross from that? So no, from Ocean to Ocean Springs. So what was your first day at Ocean Springs because you were at Mercy Cross for so long? Were you like an oddball? Were you uncomfortable?
It was great.
Okay.
It was great. So I switched to Ocean Springs my senior year, which was interesting because both of my two older siblings had graduated from Ocean Springs, and my sister Anna and I were at Mercy Cross. So a lot of the old teachers like knew who I was from growing up in Ocean
your
Springs,
young,
but I
older
was never
sibling.
a student. So I really just kind of got to do whatever I wanted to do my senior year in high school.
Did you
which
do anything
was
crazy?
Fantastic.
Yeah, did you skydive?
Yeah.
I did not skydive like into class.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you remember going from Mercy Cross wearing them ridiculous outfits?
I missed it, to be quite honest with you, because like I never from 7th to 11th grade it was always a uniform. I knew what I was going to wear the next day. I just grab it and go, and then like.
Do you remember how pissed off we were when St. Martin switched though on us?
Yeah.
Because we went from normal clothes. We went from normal clothes to the uniform, and they did a runway shoot for us. Like all our parents had to go to
They
the cafeteria.
staged it like bullying. They staged it as bullying was the reason that we're all gonna have to wear uniforms now.
I got written up because I had blue hair. Because like me and my brother wanted to express ourselves, so we started dyeing our hair blue.
Okay.
Express yourself.
Yeah, we used to get detentions for like our socks being too short. Which I think that's like a early 2000s deal. Like you can't see your socks, like the no-show socks, and you'd get like
We started off like in
15-minute
the late
detention
'90s
or
with the
something
big
like
high
that.
knee socks. Those were a thing.
Yeah.
And then it gradually went to the no shows to
Or
no
having
socks.
like a shirt with print under it. As
So-
your
undershirt.
I have one of the
Shirts are
craziest uniform stories. My buddy DeAndre Johnson, shout out DeAndre. I know he's like a pastor now, which I love you, but we always play fight it. Like we always play fight, and all of us we just like hit each other, not hard, but just wrestling. And back then for us it was NWO versus Wolfpack. Like it was that kind of vibe.
Wolfpack for life. man.
Yeah. So we just like at break, we'd play and hit. Well, I didn't have my shirt. Well, none of us ever tucked a shirt in, but like I didn't have my shirt tucked in, and I was sitting outside, and there's a teacher. Well, DeAndre came up and like was play fighting, but actually hit me and busted my nose. Not hard, but like I guess he just hit something right here.
just enough.
Oh,
just at the
blood started
right
coming,
angle.
and they're like, oh no, the teacher goes, I seen that. I'm like, he didn't do anything.
What teacher was it?
Oh, man, he was. I don't remember because he wasn't cool. Like, but he was just one of them. Like, I seen that. I'm like, he didn't do anything, and DeAndre's like kind of nervous because they didn't know we were doing like the wrestling. This is like Tuesday, Monday Night Raw, and or WCW
Locker room banter.
Yeah.
We were just
Well,
practicing.
DJ's face is. I mean, DeAndre's face is like, oh shit, like I'm done. Like, and I'm like, no, like. No, it didn't happen. And
You
he
didn't narc him out.
no, and he goes, yeah, I didn't do anything. And well, they
That
brought us
was
to
your
the,
free reign to get him back right there.
so they brought us into Coach Van Winkle, Principal Van Winkle's office, and they're like, we seen that at that time they didn't have cameras. They act like they had cameras. They didn't have cameras, and we're like, no, that didn't happen. And they're like, well, if you're not going to tell the truth, y'all are written up for y'all shirts untucked, and y'all have to do 3
Leverage
days.
discipline.
3 days of period, like blocks
Break detention.
of cleaning. And I looked at DeAndre and we're like,
Slave labor.
okay.
So were y'all were like Forrest Gump, like scrubbing the floors with toothbrushes?
No, dude, I found
or-
I honestly found the teachers, and this is the truth. I found the teacher's bathroom, and I just stayed on the toilet.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they always had that one toilet room that was like always, and it was kind of like
with like a sofa.
it was like it was their private their private bathroom or whatever. You didn't. Yeah, I just stayed there, and
I don't remember that.
It was at the junior high building.
Oh.
Like right when you it was right in the junior high building. It was a hidden. I don't even think they had a name on it.
I remember the inside of those buildings.
I thought it was a janitor closet kind of thing, so it didn't have a name on it. It didn't have like teacher building. It was just a room. Mm-hmm. So I just opened it up and I hid there.
Which you gotta remember, when I was a senior in high school, that was like the year after Katrina. So
Yeah, y'all were in like
everybody was kind of
porta buildings or
displaced, or like even your living situation was weird. And,
I stayed on Big Ridge.
Anywhere close to water was vacant.
Did you do any kind of art then? Because I know like sculpting.
Yeah,
was big for
even
you.
before Katrina, I had like a little like metalwork studios, really into like welding and like just making stuff.
Hold on, were you on East Beach during Katrina?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
How did you learn how to weld?
Oh shit!
Or play with that? Who showed you that?
Well, so I had a family member in Leaksville. My uncle Anthony. He's actually my mom's second cousin, but y'all know how that works in South Mississippi. You Uncle Anthony, well, you Uncle Anthony, right? Yeah. So Uncle Anthony worked for MDOT. Always had a welder on the back of his truck. I asked him like ever since I was a little kid to show me how to use it. I learned to weld when I was 12, 13.
That's
somewhere
dope.
Around there. So
Was it TIG or MIG?
Stick
Stick.
weld, the nasty kind of welding.
Where you have to grind it down and make it look nice.
No, not if you do it right. You can just chip it off. So I learned how to weld, and then, man, I was hooked. Like, that's really, like, all I wanted to focus on, and, like, making little art follies and those kinds of things for just kind of expressing some inner design faculties that I had. And then that slowly evolved in my upper teenage years to where, like, I got rather decent at it.
Were people like reaching out to you saying, "Hey, do this for me, do this"? What is that? It's like a one-off piece.
Yeah, I was like
commission
little,
work,
little like $150.
I bet you fixed a lot of bicycles.
That was before welding, but yeah, I was the kid with like a mechanic shop in their backyard, you know, where like that was my thing. That's what I spent. Like, if I ever got any money, I went and bought a tool. Like that
how many knuckles have you busted?
Knuckles?
Yeah.
Man, I put a saw through my thumb today. So
Can we see that on the camera?
So countless.
It's wrapped up. Yeah. No, countless. And welding, I'll say welding really helped me excel in college and professional life and everything else. Even if you like, I approach stuff from a fabrication mindset where I take all these pieces and I try to build something. So as I've like grown a little bit older, I realized that like other pieces in the community are just like building something. I'm not actually constructing something with my hands, but I can build something else.
Yeah.
Your mind's pretty powerful, dude.
So, yeah, it's the brain is weird.
Yeah. Let's go real quick though. Let's go to the thing you said with back when you were a kid. Do you remember your first like project you were tinkering with? Because like seems like you were that kid that took things apart. Let's be honest. Like,
probably.
Well, I wasn't allowed.
Remember every project.
I wasn't allowed to take things apart.
So you didn't like get your
I'll
N64 and then take it apart. Like,
no,
how's it work?
I wasn't allowed to take things apart, but I do remember vividly like my first power tool.
So what was that?
When I was, I think I was about 7 years old, so like first grade. First power tool was a Dremel. Right?
Hell yeah.
Like my dad, he was like, he can't hurt himself with this, whatever. Right? And I had me a little shop set up on the back porch, and that was like my little area where I could make anything, do anything. And then one day, like there was this old dog that was hanging around at our house, and that dog had a squirrel, and I went up and I picked up that squirrel, and that squirrel was pissed and just bit the shit out of my finger. Right? I went in. And my hand.
Say a squirrel bit you?
A squirrel bit me. Squirrel bit me. The squirrel.
Very traumatic.
The squirrel bit me so hard.
Do you believe in karma or afterlife?
I went up to this little hickory tree that was right next to where the squirrel bit me, and I was slamming the squirrel against the tree, just trying to get it to let go because I didn't know what was going on.
Like Ace Ventura style?
So like a cartoon.
I ran in the house, and my hand was all bloody.
I bet you stole pecan.
You had rabies.
Was it pecan tree?
My hand was all bloody. I went in the house, and my mom had thought that I cut my finger off with this Dremel tool that my dad bought me because apparently there was some tension there. My dad bought me a tool. My mom didn't want me to have a tool. You know how that goes.
Did he sleep on the couch?
And then I was just like, a squirrel bit me.
And she didn't believe it. I winked.
She's like, where's the squirrel?
But I mean, did it crawl up and?
Dude,
and,
I still got the scars.
I know, but it did crawl up and like look at you and
No,
then attack.
I like picked it up because like we had a
Okay.
pet squirrel years before that, and I was like, "Oh, the squirrel's hurt. Just come here, whatever." And then the squirrel was like, "Ah," and just squirrels bite.
Do you
pretty hard,
still have like distrust in your life
from squirrels?
furries,
I don't
four-legged?
trust a squirrel. Yes, that's not.
And now you're an
something you trust.
arborist.
I'm an arborist.
So
yeah.
you're like you're like the doctor of trees.
Squirrels' houses,
Yeah,
Yeah.
squirrels' homes.
I try to help people with
Do you like pecan
with
trees or are
tree
you
stuff.
biased to them?
I don't like pecan trees next to houses.
Squirrels.
I'll be honest. With you. Yeah, so metalwork kind of like helped me through college. I got a BFA in sculpture from Mississippi State University. I also studied architecture.
Go Dogs.
There. Go Dogs. I almost said Sick'em, but that's my other.
Zach, I'm telling you right now, though, we're about to dive into this thing. You can. I'm fascinated with the squirrel. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, you stuck on the squirrel.
Well,
I got
man.
a lot more to talk about.
Squirrels are taking over the Rick and Morty, the squirrels.
Yeah,
I've never been bit by a squirrel, though. Did it really hurt?
dude, it hurt. Like I still got scars. It was not.
Okay, so how did you get a pet squirrel?
Man,
Yeah.
that's one of those things where
that just happened.
Look, if you grew up in the South and you didn't have a pet squirrel at one point in your life,
I don't think we had a
I
pet
don't
squirrel.
really believe that you grew up in the South.
I grew up here.
Just if you didn't have some,
I had one flying squirrel.
yeah, exactly.
I remember one that wasn't
I
mine.
had
It
my
was
own
my
pet
cousin's.
squirrel.
Yeah, you had.
I had my own pet
flying
squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't cool enough to have a pet flying squirrel. I had.
Well,
a
I
pet
was raising
Regular.
just a regular.
So you'll love this. You'll love this. I grew up Latimer, right by Cruthers Crunch Corner. Mm-hmm. The house with the pond and the big oak tree, the massive oak tree.
Okay.
Like it's right the ranch house right there. I grew up my whole life. They had that. Everybody like there. People used to come to the house just to look at our tree
Squirrels
because it was such a big. We had this big tree, and it was cool. But like they'd come up like tree people, or tree experts would come because it was such a massive oak tree.
Yeah.
And it took over. We were on 10 acres, but this thing was massive. And then in the back, we had a magnolia tree that was like, I mean, it was gorgeous.
There's in Biloxi more recently, we have one of the biggest magnolia trees in the state.
They're such beautiful
It's
trees.
66 inches at the base, which is
Damn.
it's a stud of a tree. It's
Now, is that
about
the
as wide as your
circumference?
Hummer.
Diameter. Okay, how do you age a tree without cutting it in half and counting all the rings?
So that there's a little bit of a formula, but it's a lot of guesswork. You can't get like precise aging, but you can get within about 50 years, depending on tree species.
Are the rings
and
accurate?
environment.
Are the rings accurate?
The rings are accurate, yeah.
Dead ass accurate.
Because that's your...
But that would be assuming, like, is
that's
that...
your growth and dormant seasons. So
Okay.
your dormant season is more of like your winter season where the tree's already put its nutrients down in the soil before it starts growing again in your spring, summer months. Yeah, that's pretty fail-safe in terms of the rings.
So, I guess I'm just trying to, in my mind, take what's gotten you from an artist, a sculptor, all the way here. I mean,
I
clearly
can give you,
there's
I
a
can give you a
path.
short synopsis.
There's a path. There's a
I'll
path.
give you a short synopsis.
Yeah, let's-
So I right after I finished high school, I got my first conservation job in New Mexico, where I was working like trail building. So
What's trail building?
Building hiking trail through the middle of the woods.
What was your mindset on that versus growing up here? Yeah, please. I mean, that's different. Did you know you wanted to leave here? Did you know?
So as an 18-year-old, like that was like pretty cool to get to go enjoy a different environment from where I grew up, and also tell people about where I grew up and how awesome it was. Because I think we definitely have a gym here.
Oh, ain't
on
it
the
down.
coast.
I was driving over to the Ocean Springs Biloxi Bridge today. This afternoon.
Yeah. So that did a lot for me in terms of working in New Mexico, and I did that for 8 seasons. So I did that for 8 summer seasons. Where I spent 8 summers, more or less.
Trail making.
Doing trail building, and then I moved up to where.
So it goes to the trail building though. Like it's come back to me. We're all from Latimer.
Yeah, we wouldn't make our trails
with
with four wheelers.
Yeah, it was 4-wheelers. Like
Sure. So this is more like building trails on a slope. Down here is pretty flat, and then also we had to get somewhere. So you had to build the trail to get somewhere. So
do you remember when we did machetes? Me and you. Remember when
I've done machetes quite a few times.
but on the 4-wheeler, like when me, you, Bronson, Eric, and all us, we had the machetes, and then what we'd do is we'd cut down, and then we would just run them over and over again. We would take turns. Just
now we've got a blade that just hooks up to a weed eater.
I would say that's more of a South Mississippi approach to trail building. Out west, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, what is it like? Let's
well,
bring in some soil,
and also we're operating on this, this piece of land that's
all parkland.
No, so I was a professional Boy Scout, and that was
Eagle Scout. Eagle Scout.
Oh, dude, this is
Eagle Scout.
Own it, own it. That's sick.
So I'm an Eagle Scout, and then so I worked at Philmont, which is the high adventure base out there.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know, it's not just Scout Camp.
I don't
Philmont
know.
is roughly 280 square miles solely owned and operated by the Boy Scouts. 280 square miles is bigger than the city of Detroit, right? So that, just to give you an idea of how large that is, it's a very large tract of land. So I worked for the Philmont Conservation Department, which is the largest privately funded conservation department in the world. There's nothing that rivals conservation. They actually hire, the Forest Service hires straight out of the conservation department because of the education, background, and everything that you
Like you're groomed for it right there.
Yeah, you're
That's the college for it.
It's more or less the college. I would actually say that I learned more working for the Boy Scouts at Philmont than I did in.
Did you hang out with the Girl Scouts?
My 3 years of graduate school application.
Did you hang out with Girl Scouts? It was a co-ed?
That's Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts aren't really those types of organizations, but I will say that I worked with a lot of female professional scouters that would absolutely rival most of the males that I worked with. Like, they're just absolutely awesome in every attribute.
So I was a Rural Ranger, Cedar Lake. Son of God. They used to have Rural Rangers.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
But our St.
So
Martin.
watch out, bro.
Yeah. So it was
We're
our,
Christian versions of you.
Okay.
but it was because honestly,
But I'm
though,
not an Eagle. We didn't do all the way.
But for our youth stuff at Lemoyne, they used to have the Lions Club, but they had a small version of the Boy Scouts, so it was never taken serious. It didn't have a push.
Sure.
So we just did Royal Rangers was ours.
They used to have these big powwows where
Yeah.
they would have multiple local areas come together for this big.
We didn't ever had access to have like a.
See, the Boy Scouts, we just do that on a national scale.
I think it was here though, because now I know with Rotary we sponsor Troop 212 out of
right.
We were talking about it today, Camp Wilkes.
Yep.
That's where they're at, and I think
That was 271 out of Ocean Springs.
Could you do me a favor though? Emily has been talking to me about Oliver joining Boy Scouts. Could you come with us and screen these people?
Screen what people?
Just if they're legit or not. Like, there's like a fake person that does martial arts. Could you smell somebody since you're beyond an Eagle Scout?
Yeah,
You're a professional Boy Scout. So could you go with me for my son and then scout out and be like, that dude's full of shit?
I mean, I could help you out with.
Okay, I'm bringing you with me in the Hummer.
What troop is great?
Yeah, well, you're coming because I'm be like, you know what, this guy right here, and you can come too.
How many badges did you get?
The minimum.
That's
I got the bare minimum to get it. I'll
tell you right now, and we're joking around, guys, but that's cool that you found at a young age, found that and was serious about it. And actually, that's now it makes sense of how much you love the environment. You love guys, don't cut your damn trees down unless you talk to a person like him.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Except for ponds, can they cut ponds down?
Look, I'm a free consult.
Yeah.
If you live in
You got the camera right there. Just look right into it.
If you live in Biloxi and you're curious about your trees, I'm a free consult. If you live in Biloxi, I'm paid for by your tax dollars. But Like I'm available within most likely 24 hours of you calling me.
So as the city arborist,
Yeah,
if you will,
as a city
the
arborist
city
of Biloxi.
arborist of Biloxi,
Yep, right.
your duties right now consist of what? Like you're there for preventative maintenance. You're there for
No, so as a city arborist, I'm over permitting. So if you're a commercial developer and you have a project that you're proposing, you have trees on the property, I'll try to guide you through what our ordinances protect in terms of maintaining the longevity of those trees, as well as what we can remove, what we can't remove, or the procedures in which we'll remove a certain number of trees. Like
now, a lot of this information is probably public, right? I mean,
all of it.
Yeah. But the ability for someone to actually stop what they're doing and research it themselves is probably less likely to ever happen. So that's where it would benefit to have that. But I would think, each tree has different things that would manipulate the tree, whether it would be oxygen, soil.
Yeah, there's a lot of health consideration that, as an arborist, I take into account, whether it's the density of the canopy, the overall structural health of the tree, the proximity to structures, the positioning on the property compared to proposed structures. So if you come in with a plan to build something and you're like too close to it, or those kinds of things.
Let's talk tree stats.
Tree stats.
Tree stats. Yeah, I'm a big stat guy.
Okay.
All right. Is there a certain age or height that you would look for to where it would probably be more susceptible to falling over? From a storm, something that's more practical for us?
Age or height, no. But so I always start, whenever I evaluate a tree, I start from the ground. I look at the ground and I look all the way up. And then
Roots are important.
I'm sorry?
Roots.
Extremely important. And those are your foundation element of the tree. So if they're, and a lot of times with root issues, you see it reflected in the canopy. So you can trace back. Canopy is where all your leaves are.
So when it says canopy to me, I'm thinking like a tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your shade.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime you get shade off of the tree, you're under the canopy.
You're educating us right now, guys.
Yeah.
Right. So anytime we evaluate like the health of a tree, I'll track it all the way up. So I'll look for fungus or mechanical intrusions like irrigation, electrical.
Can you save a tree?
Can I save through like CPR?
No, just like noticing something's wrong.
Sure.
You can go and
I was making a little off-color joke.
Yeah, that's kind of good.
I'm
serious.
Not that funny.
I tend to use
These trees are important. Zach, you're ruining it right now. We care about the trees. I don't know about you, Zach.
I tend to, whenever I look at a tree and I'm meeting with a client or a property owner, I tend to use like anatomy analogies a lot of times.
Better watch out with that.
Well, in terms of, everybody has a body, so you kind of understand how your body reacts to forces. Trees do the same thing. Trees are just on a much larger time scale than we are. So like your root flare, which is like where the root meets the ground, that's more like your throat. That's where all your vitals run through, from like getting water out of the soil, bringing it.
Can you explain how wide a root runs? Because you see a small little base of it, but it's got to be.
So there's some like really simple mathematical formulas that we use in the field of arboriculture, which the field I operate in, to like assess root spread. So it's roughly 1 foot to 1 inch of caliper. So if you have a 25-inch tree, then you have a 25-inch diameter circle around that tree, and that's your critical root zone, known as your CRZ. So that's where all of your structural roots are. That's where your roots that keep that tree upright are.
Critical root zone.
Yeah, CRZ, critical root zone. And then outside of your CRZ, you have your fines. So those are all like your feeder roots, your really dainties, the stuff that's like the size of your hair. that goes out.
So, shit, they have to like. So, if somebody has like a really beautiful old live oak, and they even cut a few feet away.
Yeah, it's
can hurt.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't see that damage for 2 to 5 years, because it takes 2 to 5 growing seasons
a lot of
for
shit
that
right now.
damage to reflect into the canopy.
So as you know, Mississippi, we're ag state, right? Big time. Timber's a thing. Are there timber yards with more than just pines? Like, I know, like some of the hunting land that we have is 30 years. They say they cut the pines every 25 to 30 years.
Sure.
Are there yards full of oaks and full of live oak?
Not necessarily.
No.
Live oak's so hard.
So
It's not necessarily
what you want to make furniture and stuff.
When we look at timber yards, where you're looking at more of an agricultural crop, you're just on a larger scale.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm just
So
trying to picture it in my
it's
head.
more like a field full of corn,
Right.
except you got to wait 30 years before you can harvest it.
Why are pine trees so ugly? Serious question.
Well, there's not.
They're ugly ass trees.
I think it starts with the
I'll
bark.
say, like, so we down
That's how I feel
here-
about cats.
down here in South Mississippi, we
I'm just kidding.
like historically we're a part of the longleaf pine savanna, which was like Lewis and Clark like wrote about how amazing it was, because you just had like these like stud pine trees that were just like everywhere, which all of that historically was logged prior to the invention of a camera. So we have very few photographic like
Y'all are just sunk in the
references
bottom
to
of the
those
Mississippi
areas.
River.
Yeah, so like longleaf pines are not necessarily favored in the industry for like an agricultural use for growing pines, because they stunt. Because a longleaf pine will take like 5 to 15 years. Don't quote me on those metrics, but it'll take a significant.
We're checking this after
It'll
the
take
show.
a significant amount of time that tree stunts, so the tree will stay small before it takes off and actually grows in. So you can't scale that business if you're thinking about like harvesting your pine in 30 years. As you said, you can't wait 15 years for the pines to take root and then take off, right?
Right.
Which actually in Biloxi, some of our like best longleaf pines are on the old old golf course south of Pass Road.
Oh, we know it. Broadwater.
Yeah. You can see them on Pass Road. Like those are longleaf pines, and that's a native species because they're shorter and wider. They're as opposed to like your loplollies, which are just like tall, skinny with a little fluff ball on top, kind of like your Lorax.
Really
pine.
love trees.
I like trees.
That's dope.
I like canopy. I like shade.
No, man,
Look, I'm a tree cop.
Is
More or
there
less. I'm the city arborist, but I'm a tree cop. I'm
is there
fighting for
a
shade,
tree that provides more oxygen than other trees?
I would say your live oaks, just on
They're the
canopy,
Mac Daddy
just
oxygen
on
producer.
canopy.
Where can I go
density.
get a live oak tree and put it in my yard, because I'm getting inspired right now.
There's a few nurseries I'd be happy to share.
Yeah, please. I'd love to put one on my property.
So, and that's part of what I'm trying to work on. You asked what I do for the city. City of Biloxi, I'm trying to not necessarily reinvent the wheel. I'm pro development. I want to build stuff, but I also want to try to maintain these attributes of Biloxi that we call home, right?
You need to before you say that for Biloxi, though, you need to explain how long it takes for a live oak to mature. And you're
looking 30, 40 years.
Yeah, so I mean,
before they're like a mature live oak.
And a mature live oak still only may be that big around?
Still only like 30 inches.
6 inches?
Yeah. There's actually, there's like 3 different species of live oaks. So you have like your sand oaks, which are just kind of like...
I would tell it's a sand oak.
Well, I'm about to describe it.
I've never seen one in my life.
They're smaller. They look smaller. They look like younger trees, but they actually can be older than other trees, and they just kind of go out to the side. They just like make an arch. Okay. They're colloquially they were known as like navel oaks, because that's what you had in like Orange Beach, Pensacola, that kind of area was like your sand oaks. And then you have a couple hybrids in between there, and then you have like some Cubans, which are just like studs.
Cubans.
So like a cigar.
Like a cigar, but one that
Are
goes
there
in-
oaks in Cuba?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Damn.
know all these answers to these questions.
We need Garrett. We need Garrett.
So our third, we have 3 musketeers right here. Okay, our third right now, his dog Daisy. They're in New Orleans. She started having seizures.
Oh no!
And
That's
so
terrible.
yeah, so he's like uploading. We're dropping guys tomorrow. We're dropping Lee Elder.
Yeah,
We're dropping
Peter Roy.
the Yankee Scout, and
6 World Series rings for that guy.
but Garrett
Sat right there.
we're messing around, but like Garrett's right here. Usually with this TV pops up all these trees stuff, but like
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, so he's going through a lot. Like Daisy, like is a really sweet dog, but like he's
Are there white oaks here
White oaks, yeah,
on the coast?
yeah. They're of a non-protected species, so we don't necessarily have as many as we used to.
holy shit. So there's extinct species.
No. They just get cut down a lot. They're not necessarily what. So live oaks as a species are our most hurricane tolerant tree.
Period.
They're short and wide.
And they got big roots.
And their critical root zone more or less extends to the edge of the canopy, so they can really stay upright and handle a lot of wind on top
Dude,
of them.
Katrina hit. I was at my grandma's house on Big Ridge. And I was watching pine trees root up the ground. Mm-hmm. Me and my brother, I didn't even know, like really. I mean, I'm not acting like I was an expert, but when Katrina hit, me and my brother, shout out Bronson, but we had 2 chainsaws. We drank a bunch of Keystone Light. We're definitely underage.
Which is never a good scenario while running a chainsaw.
Do not support that.
Don't support what I did.
That is
but
that is not your best practice.
Well, so first of all, let me
Not all
go.
of his fingers, though.
But that was like a real thing, though. Like
You're still whole.
But no, my grandmother, she survived Camille,
Yeah, sure.
so she didn't want to leave. So we had no choice, man. I mean, I was on the way. At the time, I was living in Spanish Fort at my parents' house in Spanish Fort, and I was safe over there. But my grandma wouldn't leave. My brother called me. He's like, "Hey, we got to turn around. Mama won't leave." And I was like, "All right." And he's like, "I don't." He's like, "Dude, you got 2 30 packs Keystone. This is straight up." And I was like, "All right." And he's like, "We can't. You got to stay with me." So
Do you remember where you were? Where were you? I mean, surely
Oh
you do.
yeah, for
you home?
Katrina?
Yeah, were you home?
No. So we stayed near the hospital, near Ocean Springs Hospital, at a friend's office, which had like redundant power and like a gas water heater. So we were like, yeah, we're not going to lose power.
And you lost power.
We didn't take anything from the house, like nothing.
It was creepy to watch these pine trees, like really. Me and my brother were sitting there, like outside. I mean, the wind was bad, but we were sitting outside just hanging out, and we are listening to Bon Jovi too. But I look, and the tree is uprooting, and Bronson's like, "It's gonna go south, like south or west." And we're betting, like kind of like, and guys, I'm being serious. It didn't take long for these pine trees to uproot, and it freaked us out. Like got to a point where we started seeing 4 or 5 of them on Big Ridge just go with the water. And
I've heard them out
crazy.
out in the hunting stand before, and like the wind's blowing, rocking, and all of a
If a
sudden
tree falls in the forest, does it
no
make a
one's
sound?
there. Yeah, then it doesn't. But if someone's there, and it does, and not only does it make a sound, but it shakes the ground around it. These things up there are probably 100, 150 foot tall.
Right.
They're massive. It's all hardwoods.
A lot of oaks would probably go out by lightning, right? If you have to think.
Live oaks?
If their roots are that wide,
Well,
I mean, I'm getting in like right now, Magic School Bus style. Like you're educating me, and I'm just thinking back on like trees itself.
I mean, sure.
We might start a cult, guys.
Lightning strikes definitely cause damage to live oaks. Live oaks can, as a species, they can tolerate a lightning strike. A pine, it's like a death sentence. Like you might as well.
Is it true whenever something's like zig and zagging hard way, that means it got a tree? That means it's where it got struck by lightning. Have you ever heard that?
I'm not sure.
So
let's
go back to this.
So like I've seen
Yes.
trees that like typically would grow straight up, but at some point there's like a hard break in the tree to where there's the
towards
branch
the top.
turns. Yeah, something like that.
It could be a number of environmental factors, whether the top failed and then another branch like took it over and that sort of thing. that's kind of where we look at it.
So you traveled a good bit. I mean,
Yeah, so I was
your girlfriend's or can we say it? I mean, she's a pilot.
she's a pilot.
You don't know where she's from, though.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. I mean,
That's okay.
You like your privacy, your privacy.
Have you ever seen John Wick?
But when you're out, and about in these other places, do they have the same conservation towards their trees that we do here in Biloxi? Or do they have the same?
So I'm actually on that note, like Biloxi has a rather bolstered tree ordinance compared to a lot of other southern municipalities.
What does the word bolster mean?
Like it works.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of triggers in the document for what we as a community want to see done with trees as far as it being enforced. Yeah. That's something that we're forever working on. But other municipalities definitely have pretty good tree ordinances. I met a friend of mine. His wife's dad actually wrote the tree ordinance for Nashville. So I had a drink with him, and he and I were just geeking out about trees in Nashville. He's like, well, this is what we're doing, and this is what we're doing to help restore our tree canopy. And that's where even harking back to my work history in the conservation department, that's where I'm focused on, okay, well, if we're removing trees in Biloxi, we need to be replanting trees. And then what kind of trees are we replanting? So I'm actively focused on where can we plant these trees?
Avocado
what
trees.
Size are these trees?
So we're gonna as long as it's not too extreme on the price with us, you're able to plant whatever tree you want at my house. As long as it don't kill me.
Well, I got to plant trees on public property. I can't plant them on private property.
No, we'll still do it. But
you're
off the clock.
You live in Gulfport.
I don't
This
care.
is different.
I don't care.
It's about the love for the trees.
Yeah, it's love for the trees.
It's not about where the tree goes.
I'm just saying, you find a certain tree.
No,
I definitely want to do. I definitely want to do a live oak. But if there's, I'll let you pick another tree.
Is there any kind of invasive tree
Popcorns
that we've
Stop
seen?
the pop.
Stamen, is that a thing?
We had one. Parents, they're horrible.
Because kudzu,
Popcorn.
I remember kudzu coming in.
And popcorn trees.
All right, I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Shoot.
Where
Okay, go.
are they from originally?
I think Asia somewhere. I mean, honestly, no. Popcorn trees are absolutely statewide. They're extremely prolific.
I've got two in my backyard. I've cut them down to the nub of nothing.
They will root anywhere, and you can cut them off, and they're just going to come back. They are, and also they will outcompete other native species that we have here. So popcorn trees are not your friend. Little heart-shaped leaf, and but
they're fun to throw at
I'll
other
say,
kids.
Folks like them in the fall because they actually change color.
Yeah,
where live oaks don't change color. You get,
but they look like a giant bonsai.
Yeah,
so take your pick.
And you should treat them as such. Bonsai trees are you make a lot of little cuts over the whole thing, and live oaks should also be treated that same way because they don't respond to large cuts very well.
They're the most beautiful trees to me, though. I love live oaks.
With that being said about the invasive tree, and whenever you guys do get the plant, is there something new that y'all have tried here, or is there a tree somewhere that we've kind of coveted and said, "Hey, that would be cool in Mississippi. Let's try that." I mean, is there any kind of
new?
Yeah.
No. I'm just kind of.
What are the Christmas trees
on live oak?
What's a Christmas tree? That's a cypress or fir.
Like a fir.
Those don't happen. Those don't grow in Mississippi, do they?
They do.
Do they?
They
I don't even know.
They grow really tall, really fast
Okay.
because we have a lot of water. But you got to think about where Christmas trees normally grow is
Snowy.
Midwest, Upper Midwest,
Nebraska.
Zach, you're here to educate us, and you're here
if
to
you don't
educate
know
us.
the answer, just make it up.
let's-
and
Don't make
we'll be
fun of us.
Let's not
Shit.
talk about art.
No, we like the trees. We're sorry, guys.
Let's talk about art.
Are
and
bonita
design.
fish big fish?
No,
Yeah.
no. But I tell you what,
I don't know nothing about fishing,
But-
man, other than I like it.
I'm enjoying learning about trees. I'm not.
Sure.
It's cool as shit because Most time, that was what I was saying. Like live oaks were growing up. It's like we had a few trees. People come and see them. But like they're beautiful. And
so there's a tree. There's a tree in Biloxi. Maybe I said it earlier, but that we have a giant magnolia tree in Biloxi that I talked to.
When you say giant, what's the size?
66 inches in diameter.
Size of a Hummer.
It's about as wide as a Hummer.
Yeah.
And I talked to the director of the Mississippi Forestry Commission, as well as other arborists around the South, and I'm like, hey, just quick question: have you ever seen a 66-inch single stem magnolia, meaning it only has one trunk? And they're like, no.
Don't believe you.
And then the lady from the Forestry Commission was like, there's one comparable in Natchez. She's like, but it's a double, meaning it's two trunks and it splits at the ground.
Is there a Guinness Book of Record for trees? Like, that's Harvey.
Yeah,
And-
but it's different.
And everyone
from state
that's in
by
the tree
state,
community
but-
knows that that's the single trunk record.
Dude, this tree is amazing. What's crazy about it is it's right in downtown Biloxi. And, like, this tree is probably in excess of, like, 300 years old as a magnolia, which is an amazing fact because magnolias have, like, a very fragile cambium, which is your outside living layer of the tree. That's kind of your skin layer, right? So anytime that cambium is fractured or whatever, you can get decay and rot within those areas, which this thing is a absolute stud, like right next to a house. Like, how does that happen?
It's an anomaly.
Yeah.
You remember the magnolia tree? Like when we go, like, my parents would like to have we went to the back door and then we went towards the four wheeler and had the barn. And there's that one tree right when you that was the magnolia tree, the big ass tree. It was close. That tree my parents had was like, it wasn't little.
It's about as wide as this couch.
I got one.
That tree was,
I
when
got
I was
one in
growing
my
up as a kid,
backyard
it was
that's
big. I
probably
mean, it was like half size.
not-
Like, it
I
was,
know, but like they're not around anymore. Is my other point. Like,
so we're doing a magnolia here.
Huh?
We're doing a magnolia here.
I got one at the house.
Oh yeah,
They're very pretty.
I mean, they're very messy.
They are messy.
They're messy.
Why do people paint the trees stumps white? That my parents painted quite a few.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. That
White
was weird.
tree. Trunk down.
From like the trunk down.
Yeah.
What's funny is like you don't really see that anymore.
You
growing
don't.
Up, growing
But
up
growing
as a
up,
kid, it was
it was.
everywhere.
I had to paint the tree. What are you
Like,
talking about?
yeah, it was absolutely everywhere.
Is there a
and
reason
then
on
what's,
that?
I don't know.
what's also awesome is like I still see some old trees, and you can still see like that
The line.
that little white line that was like around the tree.
Dude, if I didn't paint that tree, I got in trouble.
I heard it was for bugs or something.
I don't know. There's so many. Like,
I'm telling you, I
like
painted
wound-
several trees
like
white.
wound treatments. If you ever like cut a limb, you're supposed to paint it with tar, which is like the worst thing that you can absolutely do.
I mean,
Or
people
like
used to put leeches on their body and think it was going to help them out. So.
Like wound treatments, just don't do that. Like if you try to put tar or whatever over a wound, what you're really doing is you're creating like an ideal environment for bugs to get underneath there. You create them a little house that they can like get underneath there. And
So that was like a myth.
I don't know that it was. I think it was just like the best science that folks had at the time.
At the time, they were missing.
Like kind of like a lobotomy. You know, it was just like the best thing that they.
Southern
could do
Living
at the
Magazine
time.
ruined it all.
That's probably where it came from. It's
100%.
probably a class action suit.
My mom was
Probably.
like, I'm telling you, I had to like paint trees.
Yeah,
I don't know if you like that real thing because like the property was like hell. Your parents had a lot of good trees too.
I don't think any of them were painted. We didn't have, but I had family that had painted trees.
Yeah,
yeah. We
It's a
didn't
big
have-
thing in
we
Latimer.
didn't have painted trees.
like we're talking guys like this before. Like if
I'm
you're,
so glad that fell out of fashion.
it was just weird.
Let's bring it back.
No, let's not bring it back. This is not bring.
So you're
it
saying
back.
right now, like,
Yeah.
so a magnolia tree is something that we need to have.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's a
so
state tree.
Bald cypress. So in Biloxi are 3 protected trees. Now this is not only the only trees that we
Look,
want
I don't
to
care about
exist.
Biloxi anymore. You know what, Biloxi, do your
Fair
thing. There's other people. Like I do live in Gulfport. People need to know what to do because there's live oaks in Gulfport.
No,
Does
there's
Gulfport have an
there's
arborist?
I don't
fantastic
know. I didn't even know that was a
live
name. Literally, I met like me and Zach met at Fly Llama and hit it off because he's super nice, great person,
Yeah.
Great
He's-
hair.
and he's
oaks. Good hair.
Yeah, but he also just you're just a good person, and you have your own thing. You're not trying to be somebody you're not.
No,
it's dope as shit about you.
I'm just trying to be a dude that
very sweaty
exists.
listeners.
But that's what I appreciate about you. Like
when you met me, I was like always covered in like drywall dust.
Doesn't matter.
Or
I met you before you got your job, and that was important.
Yeah.
And you showed me your badge, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. The badge was dope.
I ordered a new one.
I was
shout out to Fly Llama.
I was like, you're pretty proud about that. And I was like, you carry that around with you, and you're like, yeah, you ever just tried to walk onto somebody's property? It doesn't really go over too well. And I was like, man, that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're just so I don't wear any like emblem shirts or anything. So I do have a vest.
It's like a safety vest?
No, it's like a
Neon?
forestry vest. It's orange.
Okay.
With silver.
No, it's
Like
not,
you could hunt deer in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make you a custom one.
Yeah. No, so it's just one of those things where like you got an issue or got to be code enforcement or whatever like that. That's the not so fun part of my job where I actually have to get on to people for doing the wrong thing. But in the other,
Is there a lot of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into that, and then let's honestly, this is educational because people, when you're listening, there's certain trees, if you're in Biloxi, Ocean Springs, Gulfport, if you're in any city, there's certain things that you should definitely tell people, like if they see something, to reach out.
Yeah, use this as a chance to
look
reach.
on the first note. We want to maintain what we got. And there are proper ways of doing that. If you have any concerns, just consult your local arborist, consult an industry professional about your trees on your property, right? Whether they're over your house, adjacent to your house, or you just want to maintain them, right? Because trees bring value to your property. There's a metric at which you can evaluate what trees bring to your property in terms of value. But on the other side, we also have a lot of so I have tree guys and then I have chainsaw owners. That's how I describe it. Anybody can go buy a chainsaw and call themselves a tree guy. Yeah. But a true tree guy has earned it because they know what's the appropriate growth response and trimming, what the trimming will do to the tree and other things like that. You're like chainsaw owners. They're just trying to get a payday, cut a bunch of limbs off, show you that they did something, and then they're going to be out of there, right? Where I proper tree care, you can really maintain your trees for the longevity of however long the tree's going to live with the proper steps. And
is there a Bible that people go to that's okay, here's the oak tree Bible, here's the pine tree Bible.
So that's the I would say the tree Bible would be your ISA industry standards, which is your International Society of Arborists industry standards, which are your BMPs, your best management practices. Okay. For pruning and those kinds of things.
So in any type of situation where you had to refer to something, that would probably be what you would go back to. Yeah,
because that's a Bible that's updated every year, where it's kind of a constant learning process, which I pull from a lot of different sources, not necessarily the ISA, but that's kind of where you'd go to learn and those kinds of things. Which also, I've only been in this role as a city arborist for 7 months. And I've been using this as a teachable moment because don't forget, I went to school also to be a teacher. So,
I love it.
So I'm okay, how do I use this as a teachable moment, not to just deter people from the tree industry, but also encourage them into the tree industry to do it properly.
We put your contact, not necessarily the city of Biloxi or any kind of contact information for people to reach out to you and show you a picture of the tree?
Sure.
Because honestly,
happy to.
I don't know shit
post
about
them
trees.
on our page, and we'll be the buffers.
We're never going to answer that.
Yeah. No.
What about tree houses?
And that's something even in y'all's industry, for insurance. I deal with insurance calls every day, where I've gotten a client's gotten a threatening letter to cancel their policy for
Over a tree overhanging.
for limbs
Over the roof,
their
yeah.
house, etc. Whereas I approached that
In-foot rule.
as an arborist, and I'm like, that's absurd. There's nothing structurally wrong or
Well,
compromising.
it's a stock
with-
market, and they just
with
want to
this.
gamble, and they want you to cut.
Yeah,
if they're
so-
Jerry Jones, they want to cut.
And
the
that's where
fat.
That's
the
true.
like Sun Herald had an article where they pointed to me but didn't mention me by name, which is fine by me. Where they were like, well, we had this scenario where somebody had an issue with their insurance company, and then we got this kind of letter from a certified arborist, from a tree risk assessment qualified arborist, which is TRAQ, TRAQ, where you can get a letter from a TRAQ certified arborist saying this tree either
Know that.
poses a risk.
Oh, it's
to the
on-
property
it's
or
on
doesn't
insurance.
pose a risk. Well, that's where, as an urban forester, like we have to maintain this tree
That sounds so
canopy. We can't
badass.
just like
It is.
Urban forester.
right.
But I appreciate you, like, look, Mark. But I'll tell you right now, this is something that's very important. Is there's a letter, guys. If you have certain things, there's a lot of hanging limbs.
Yeah,
And
just
hanging
consult,
chads,
consult your
hanging
local
limbs.
arborist, ask the questions,
And also, insurance is we are just there to cater to you to find the right carrier. We're not the ones that actually make up the premiums. Don't call me and tell me, huh?
subtle plug.
Well, people. I mean, that's a thing. So we get Matt. They like, I got to cut this off. And it's like, hey, I'm here just to like. I'm not the carrier. I'm not Warren Buffett,
Right.
That'd be
Allegedly.
nice. It'd be nice.
but he owns half of the insurance world.
Yeah.
It's facts. Pull it up.
So I field those calls daily.
That's cool though. I didn't know that. So I can actually, we can get
I
that.
can help you.
Yeah. Thank you. That's dope.
Yeah.
Because there are some like there's a
and,
few.
and I help a lot of people daily because I mean, if you're whatever age you are and you have an insurance policy and your insurance is threatening to cancel you in the middle of hurricane season,
Oh,
like that's like for a couple limbs over your house, like
Some
okay,
BS.
let's figure it out and figure out the best plan of action, because you may also love your tree that's like around your house, and trees can actually provide like a certain level of protection in terms of wind and those kinds of things. Like a live oak, a full canopy live oak can reduce wind as much as 30%. That's not 30% for every tree, but like on the opposite side, it can reduce that wind by 30% just by the drag that it like
crazy.
imposes on
Makes sense,
the
though.
wind, right?
like NASCAR. I mean, they ride in the circle.
Yeah. So like, just
Are-
imagine if you have a bunch of trees around your house, or I also use an analogy: pick up a stick that's full of leaves, extend your arm, and try to wave it through the air. You'll feel the drag, right? Now take that same stick, strip all the leaves off, and then wave it through the air. You can move it a lot faster.
Got a
right?
switch on your hands.
Yeah, that's a switch, right?
Damn, that hurt.
So say
Flashbacks, mom.
yeah,
Pick a switch.
yeah. I think I still got scars.
Dude, I had to spank Oliver today, so I mean, I know what it feels like.
So
Did you switch him?
with
No,
that,
just bare hand.
with
Pick
that-
your own switch, boy.
with that movement, you can really feel like what a full canopy can do to protect the shingles on your house, or like protect
Guys,
your
if
house
you're
from-
just tuning in now, it's going to be canopy is the shade you get from a tree. You're the
Taught
limbs.
him.
I'm a tree cop
Taught
fighting
him.
for shade.
Oh, I own this
Yeah.
market,
All right,
and I'm still going to wear skinny
Yeah.
jeans.
Put down the saw, step away from the tree.
Sir, chainsawing on this. Are
This is a cool
Live
podcast,
oaks.
dude. This is dope shit.
did they go all the way up to where all major water sources are? Are they mainly indigenous to the South? You know?
What, live oaks?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, like
There's-
Louisiana's
so-
got them,
so
Alabama's got them.
From Slidell to Mobile, we have the largest live oak canopy in the nation. Sure, Savannah's got some.
Yeah, I was curious.
And like kind of
Florida,
your-
maybe?
No, they're not. No, we own the shit. It's
or
ours.
like, well, I'm saying like some of your coastal areas of Georgia have large populations of live oaks, but it's not as dense as our live oak canopy. We are in one of the most interesting urban canopies, like across the coast, because like South Texas doesn't have it, and then Florida's built like they already mowed
Palm
it all
trees,
down.
dude.
yeah, no shit. I got a big ass palm back here. It's like a low palm, and it's massive. It takes over half my
Florida
backyard.
does have the big one right in the middle of the.
Can I cut it down?
Kingdom.
Do you care about palms? Can you cut it down?
Palm trees?
No, I have this like it's a low palm tree. Like it's just like grows,
Yeah, got the like little spines on it.
but it's massive. It is.
Man, I'll tell you what.
Can I take it out?
I'll
Can I?
tell you one thing.
We're going back to live oaks. Can I cut it out?
When I was doing tree work all the time, like I would charge you so much money to deal with a palm tree, especially when it had like the dead palm fronds that were folded
hanging
over.
down.
It's right there.
Those things burned up great
You know
though
why?
on fire.
Because those dead palm fronds are full of wasps. Like,
And they're hard.
So
like
I'd
they're
have
pokey.
to battle the wasp, and then like palm fronds are terrible.
So-
What
to
about
deal
bamboo? You see that
Bamboo's
sometimes
a
on fence
grass.
lines. Is it?
It's a grass.
Is it? I didn't realize it was a grass. 'Cause, but I mean, some
It's
of
just a really big grass.
some of it's that big around. You know.
Yeah.
We have some of that here.
Yeah, it's not native.
Just like the
at
palm
all.
tree. So it's gone.
No, we do have native palms.
Not
Not
this
with
one.
coconuts.
This one's horrible.
We do not have native palms. with
Somebody
coconuts.
did come over one time. They're like, "If you ever want to get rid of that palm, let us know."
we did.
They're like cool.
But they're just ugly as shit.
Sell them at Shark
I'll tell you right now,
Pits.
guys. I hate palm trees. I hate the way they look. But I do like how, because it's so old, it like covers our whole entire back play. Like,
Sure, you know,
it's got good shade.
Okay,
We have great.
what's your stance
shades,
on the sculptures from the old trees on the 90?
Ooh, now you're harking in. to
Yeah.
The dolphin,
curious.
the dolphin.
My real passion.
Because
which is
I
sculpture.
had a tree in my yard that ended up falling down. I cut it at the top of the root with the mindset on, hey, I'm probably going to hire someone to come in here and design like a sailfish or something with a chainsaw. And then it never happened. The root rotted. I had to get rid of the whole thing. So what's the take on that?
Close to Shark Heads, if you're ever on Highway 90, you'll see a cypress tree that has a blue heron carved in it. And that cypress tree has come back
Really?
around the blue heron.
That's
You
cool.
gotta be watching.
I'm gonna look for it.
You gotta
Yeah,
look
yeah.
for it.
You got a picture?
I don't have a picture, but so like I said earlier,
Guys,
like,
it's right next to Wet n Wild.
yeah, live oaks don't typically show stress for 2 to 5 years. Katrina, we got a ton of salt stress. We lost a lot of live oaks to salt stress, like just the salinity going up in the soil, and just ultimately killed a lot of live oaks. But 2 years later, a lot of them came back. You know, we had the 1 year when they had nothing on them. Everybody thought they were dead, and then they started budding back out and those kinds of things. Am I opposed to what went on with the art project? No, I think for the time that was really important to kind of like, you know,
It was. Everybody was talking about
everybody
it.
was talking about it. Give
Marketing.
You know, it was a community thing. In terms of the tree stuff, I don't know that I was really for it. Looking back, because I at that point I wasn't really a tree
caring
guy.
about it. Probably.
Yeah, so looking back, I look at it and I'm like, well, could that tree have made it if we didn't just deem it as dead and carve it into a dolphin? I don't know. Like,
Looks cooler now.
Well,
yeah, like
But it's about to take over, right? Eventually, 100 years from now, it's gone.
I would say another 10 years.
Yeah, there would. They'll rot
those
out.
trees are
They'll fall
falling
over. Some drunk driver will hit one with a car.
Zach, you know, it's a funny thing. Like, I know, like, it's like we're not like Zach. Honestly, it's fascinating. So this whole podcast could be about you talking about your love for trees, and you'll be on for part 2, 9, 6, and 7, and 8.
Yeah.
I like trees.
You're one of
art,
us now.
whatever.
So
Yeah, but that's like cool for us.
you can wear
like,
your headset.
we
next
didn't.
time.
I didn't know. I didn't know any of this shit until you hop on this motherfucker. Like, I didn't know any of it, and that's fascinating because like I think everybody should have their own passions and hobbies, and what you did was like you fell in love with like what you started caring about when you got into scouting stuff and nature, and you want to preserve it, and it's something you're passionate about.
Being
And now
outside
you're a
and
city
being
official.
around,
But
like,
but I'm just saying that's what I love for our listeners. Like listen, like guys, if y'all have some really pretty live oaks, reach out to Zach. I really want y'all to reach out to Zach. Don't hesitate, but don't cut.
Coffee table. I'm thinking coffee book tables. The live oaks of the South.
So okay, I'll
Sell it at Aunt Jenny's.
I'll take this as a moment to plug a program that we have going on in Biloxi, which is our Majestic Tree program. Super cool. So right now we have 2, but the Society of Arborists, it's a French term. I won't butcher it because I'm sure some of your listeners speak French.
Oui.
But
Probably, who knows?
they've been documenting live oaks across the South. It's out of Louisiana, but they've been documenting our large historic trees since the late 70s, right? So we have this giant registry.
Which isn't that long.
Right.
In the grand
So
scheme
we
of
have
things.
this big registry of trees where trees have been registered. You have to be over 36 inches in diameter and such. So the city of Biloxi, we've instated this Majestic Tree program where we can deem a tree majestic because based on its attributes and those kinds of things.
Can I get grandfathered in as a majestic deemer?
Yeah. So we're actually
majestic.
we're coming up with a community map where you can scan a QR code and see this majestic tree map where you can
That's pretty dope.
as a visitor, you can visit Biloxi, scan the QR code, see the majestic tree map, be like, oh, these are where all the big historic trees are.
So
and those kinds
just
of
for
things.
record, what do you say the ones on 90 now, the average 300 years, you think?
No,
Not that old?
Not that old.
100?
No. Yeah, I'd say you're around 100 for the Highway 90 corridor.
I'm pretty sure that
North of the Highway 90 corridor, you're probably 200 to 300 years in some of those larger.
Zach, real quick though,
cities.
how many people in a 100-mile radius of the Gulf Coast care about trees the way you do? Is it a big circle, a small circle?
Well, within 90 miles, we have the only state's master certified arborist.
Who's that?
Which is Lauren Erickson out of Hattiesburg.
So he's like LeBron James of trees.
Man, he's a trip to talk to. I actually called him today because we have this may preempt it, but we have a foam party conversation tomorrow morning. There's supposed to be this foam party going on.
Wow.
And I called Lauren. I was like, "Hey, Lauren, they got this foam party. I have no idea if the phone's detrimental to our lives.
Just put a little bit of
For sure, it's a lot of chemicals.
weed and grow.
Actually,
in there.
what Lauren said, he was like, yeah, man, it'll actually probably help the grass. Just don't pour it as concentrate on the bottom of the trees, man.
Yeah, duh.
Okay, cool. He's like, yeah, man, let me know when the foam party is.
Yeah.
It's a very crazy concept.
But to have that kind of people to bounce stuff off of is pretty cool.
Yeah, it pick up the phone and just be like, hey, have you ever seen a 66-inch magnolia? And everybody's like, no. Or I know of one that's in Natchez.
You better be careful because if you start bragging too much, somebody might show up to try to marry you.
How often do you talk to people about your love for trees?
Daily?
Did you have a tree house growing up?
It's kind of my job. I did. I had 3
tree houses.
Yeah, 3 tree houses. I was a pretty
Is
avid
that
tree house
in
builder.
ordinance now? If I wanted to build a tree house for my kid, do I have to call somebody, or do I
There's-
just start building?
There's nothing against building tree houses now.
So if I have a massive live oak, I can just literally
You
start.
could build a tree house in it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Noted.
yeah.
The only thing I don't like about
I'm a fan of tree houses,
Yeah,
man.
but-
But
Same.
look, you also got to remember, I was a climber for a long time. I'm a fan of getting above the ground. I mean, I think there's a lot of historical evidence about being above the ground, especially when you look back in art history and everything like that.
we're not getting in there right now, Zach. We're going. We've already finished our thing. You can point out to the
okay.
audience.
Cool. I won't talk about any Grecian history or anything.
What is that? What's Grecian history?
No,
No, the sculpture. Slight sculpture stuff.
I mean, the Acropolis is built at the top of a mountain. I mean, you could also akin that to being high off the ground and that sort of thing.
Okay, let's go into it.
Do you have
Fuck it, we're
your
still-
own?
Let's go into it.
Do you have your own welding mask that has something badass on the front of it, like Spider-Man or?
Dude, I I do, yeah.
What is it?
I have a welding shield.
What does it got on,
No,
on
I
the
think
outside?
it has a sticker on it that says like shit or get off the pot.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I am fascinated though. Like, so guys, he is a sculpt. You've done probably a shit ton of. I mean, you've been working. You went from welding to building sculptures.
Do you still sell any of this now?
No.
Would you?
No.
Because it would
That's what
require
I'm- sorry,
it would
skip from
require someone
part
to come to
two.
you and say you either have to have one stock or someone to come up to you and say this is what I want. Right? I mean, I would think those are the only two ways it could be.
Yeah, so I went after more like community oriented sculpture when I was doing sculpture. So,
Kind of like put this in your park. Change it
yeah,
because a lot of them
where-
recycle.
yeah,
like they'll put something out.
where I did art on loan stuff. Which
Yeah, I've seen
was
that before.
mostly like out west or east coast, where you could like loan a sculpture.
Do you
for
still have any of your
time.
pieces out there now?
No, nothing's on loan right now. No,
It's out there in the public. I mean,
some of it is still out in the public.
go ahead. Like he's guys.
Yeah,
He's
where
still,
can they find your stuff?
So at the was it Pascagoula General Services Complex, which is just right there south of the Pascagoula Courthouse.
and the only reason I'm cutting this, I want to cut this podcast a little short is like because I want, if we're not going to focus on the trees, that's, you know, this is like the steps of you. Like there's so much about you, but well, no,
Trying to find out where we can find this
Trees,
stuff.
we
At.
love trees.
no, but like you, like
I'm a tree hugger.
you are a tree hugger, but it's cool.
I'm
Like
your neighborhood Lorax.
so, like as we get older,
For the trees.
I have no education in trees, and I buy 100 acres, and I start just cutting down live oaks. You would hate life.
How did you feel when the movie Fern Gully came out?
Fern Gully.
Yeah, they're chopping down the forest.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay,
I've seen
all right. Pretty much Avatar.
Oh, okay. Pretty much Avatar. Okay.
No, but no. I just think it's really cool that like there's very few people I've ever met that like protect what's going on, like downtown, old live oaks,
I try
magnolias. That's so dope. They're like, this is not, guys. Like, you do not cut one of the older trees. You buy a house, reach out to Zach. This is something.
Leave it alone. I try to help.
Yeah,
you.
he literally said free consultation. Like, doesn't matter what city you're from. If you're listening, like, let him look at it first because.
What kind of tree has the Keebler elves inside of it?
The one with the door at the bottom.
Okay, I've been looking for that one
And a little chocolate
my
factory
whole
in
life.
there.
Whatever you think about, like, it, but if somebody cuts down a pine, are you like, is that a focus for you on
Pine?
that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Can we get
and
a
a lot
few-
of that? So for a long time, I chased crane work. I was, like I said, I was a climber. So crane removals, those kinds of things, like kind of your high risk removals. I've cut down a lot of pines. I'm not sure that you've met a lot of people that have cut down more trees than I have.
Couple Michigan guys during Katrina.
Sure, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can exceed my.
No. I don't think they had it. They just had a contract, so they told me they're tree guys.
Sure,
I've seen
sure,
videos
sure.
of like I've seen footage of you climbing a tree. It's kind of creepy.
I love it, man.
They have the special shoes, like with the
nobody
grips
really messes with you.
on the inside.
Everybody always asks me, they're like, "Are you scared of heights?" I'll be like, "I can't." Like, there's no, like, I can't. I don't get paid.
Could be.
if I'm scared of heights.
Did you ever
like,
get? Have you ever? Did you ever climb up at one point and get stuck? Like, oh shit, and
dude?
then-
I have been in the top of some stuff and been like, yo, like, I want to get down. like,
But how high was that?
this.
especially when the wind starts blowing.
Okay,
It's gotta
let
be.
me just say, like, so for a long time, I've climbed for bigger cranes, but for a long time, I climbed for a crane that was 130 feet a stick. So that's the boom is 130 feet long, and I have been picked up from the driveway. And you've ever ridden like a fast elevator?
Yeah,
Right, and you're like, "Woo, this elevator's really fast."
Yeah, you
right?
feel it.
Just imagine like having a belt that's strapped in with a piece of rope, and you clip into that ball on the end of a crane, and then you just
like
skyrocket up to like 130 feet, and then that crane starts moving, right? So like it picks you straight up out of one point, and then it starts moving to the other part of the yard, whether it's pivoting. And
That's gotta be a
and then
rush.
also dropping you. And so you're just like, and I'm trying to like Instagram like.
Does
the
that
whole
feeling?
time.
Does that feeling in your stomach? Do you get that feeling in your stomach, like that roller coaster feeling?
I did like right when TikTok came out. I had a TikTok. I don't anymore, but like I put on like the Miley Cyrus. Like I came in like a wrecking ball, and I was like trying to cue it up because I was like hanging from a crane like 120 feet off the ground.
I'm sure that's something your boss always wants to see, like, you know, videos of their employees out there.
I'll tell you right now that he's
coming in like
Bro,
a
I
wrecking
was a
ball.
sub.
He was.
They did not care.
So he was like before he accepted the job at Biloxi. He had his tree business, and he literally was excited about because that was a conversation me and you had at Fly Lineman. It was one of the coolest. Like he
hustle, man.
He makes more money climbing trees than he does working for the city.
Oh, I mean,
like double.
Yeah,
it's not more.
Yeah, but it's like a thing where he's trying to.
But he doesn't get to educate and preserve.
So education is important to him. Like he just said, he was.
He doesn't get to join the Rotary Club as the newest member.
Yeah. Plug.
Oh no!
I'm
All right,
in there.
The youngest member.
All right, tell everybody where they can get in touch with you, how they can find you, if they need you. There's a
community
city number,
development, City of Biloxi website.
Yeah.
Community development tab, Arborist, or you just call community development. Ask for Zach.
Ask for hair.
I'm here. Yeah.
Got you.
And then next time he comes on is going to be sculptures and why he left his job.
Maybe we'll get him to do a live action sculpture here in the studio.
No, because his sculptures, like honestly, guys, you just
Weird.
I want armor.
They're not
Can you
small.
make us armor?
No.
Like
You could.
No, I
Now you're
wouldn't.
bullshitting. Now you're bullshitting.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right.
But guys, honestly, do not cut down. Like you buy your new home. If you see an older tree, reach out to Zach.
Yeah.
Don't cut it down or put a driveway.
Yeah, and that's the
Paint
biggest
it
thing.
white from the base.
The whole message is though he left making good money to educate because we are young and like I don't even know what's in my backyard. Ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not
Popcorn.
I can probably help you with that. It's
But be
either
careful.
Popcorn or pine.
because you know what? The old people are going to be moving on,
And a
you're
squirrel
gonna own
will
their
bite
house.
you.
Yeah.
Peace. That'll be good.
Everybody needs shade.
And also, September 30th, Ground Zero, Boot Scoot and Boobies, Pink Dress Run, October 21st. What do you got?
Holographs.
Holographs.
October 28th. Tickets coming soon.
And
Got anything you want to plug?
No.
We will plug you.
No.
All right.
well, guys, please don't do. Honestly, if you feel uncomfortable, do not get your brother-in-law to cut your trees down.
Call
probably what you go through.
411 before
Just
you
call
dig.
Industry professional.
Y'all be good.
All right, love you.
See y'all next time.
Take care.